This is the Healthy Business Podcast, the show for ambitious business owners who want to grow and scale in a healthy way. I'm Sarah Cook, and I'll be sharing with you tips, inspiration, and proven methods from leading business experts, entrepreneurs, and health and wellness professionals to help you grow your business with more income and having more impact, but in a way that works for you. Because when you have clarity and strategy, you can achieve the results you want. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Healthy Business Podcast. I am super excited because I have the brilliant Caro Syson joining me today. And Caro has, oh my goodness, she's got such an amazing set of experience. She's been self-employed for the last 30 years. So I'm so excited to have Caro on because I know we're going to delve into lots of different things, as well as her amazing app that she's created to support other business owners who just want a simple way of really creating the business that they love. So, Caro, thank you so much for joining me today.
Pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, Sarah.
Oh, I think we're going to have a really lovely conversation. It's going to be brilliant. Okay, so to delve into, I guess, a little bit about your story first of all, I think would be really interesting. And then I'm going to ask you the question that I ask everybody on this show. But let's start talking a little bit about you in the last 30 years that you've just spent doing amazing things.
Gracious, that makes me feel so old, but it's absolutely right. It's over 3 decades. That's a scary, merry thought, isn't it? So yeah, I'm a huge believer of where you begin is never where you end up. I say that to my children all the time. I think they must be fed up of me saying that because I believe we all have a squiggly journey and route in life, and that's exactly how it's meant to be, really. So whenever I've felt that I've been going off course, I've always sort of tried to come back to I'm in exactly where I'm supposed to be at the moment. So I left school and went to uni and did a physiotherapy degree and became a chartered physiotherapist. I then detoured. I was going to become a helicopter pilot in the Navy, but changed my mind at the last minute and got married. So that was another little detour that wasn't planned. Carried on with my physiotherapy and had 4 kids and decided to then open a private physio practice from home so that I could be at home with the children. And I began my first sort of self-employed role. So I haven't worked for anyone since I was literally 23, and so I've been self-employed now, as I say, for over 30 years. Opened my physio practice, that was all up and running. It all seemed to be going hunky-dory, and 3 years later decided to retrain as a mortgage broker. Just fancied a
really
bit of
aligned.
change.
Yeah, completely different.
I wanted to get into property and finance and realized I didn't really know much about mortgages. So I thought the first thing to do would become a fully qualified mortgage broker. I didn't just sort of think that I would chat to a mortgage broker. I thought, no, I need to go into that narrow and deep and find out exactly what that's all about. So I became a mortgage broker, and then I began training other mortgage brokers, and I began buying property and doing sort of property development, investment, that sort of thing. And then we had a big property crash in 2008. I'd sold my physio practice by then, and I was concentrating mainly on property. I was showing other people how to buy property. The mortgage market was very different back then. And then, I mean, I've been doing property now for over 20 years, 25 years nearly. But 6 years ago, nearly 7 years ago, my oldest daughter came home one day and she said the magic words, "Mum, I want to work for myself." And she was literally just 19. She'd left school, hadn't decided to go to university, which I was totally fine with. But I wanted to make sure that she was going to shine her light really brightly, being self-employed. But having left school and nobody teaches you how to be self-employed, it's not one of those things that they discuss at school. They presume that you're going to go on to further education, or you're going to work for a blue chip company and climb up that greasy pole of corporate life and keep going up and down like snakes and ladders and just keep looking to break that glass ceiling. And she wanted something different. And I was so passionate about wanting her to be successful at 19 and nobody to dim her light that I started looking for something for her to support her on her journey, because she has something called dyscalculia, which is that sort of number dyslexia where she gets in a panic about spreadsheets, percentages, decimal places, all of those things which overwhelm a lot of people. In fact, 4 million people in the UK have dyscalculia of some sort. And so I was very concerned about how she would manage her finances in that first year, whether she would even make the end of 12 months, because when you're self-employed, you have to submit a set of accounts, come hell or high water. That's the one deciding thing, that when you're self-employed, we have to do that. Yes. And it was just a lot. She was already focusing on her beauty career, and I knew she'd be amazing at that. But unless she had this other aspect of managing the business, not getting overwhelmed and being able to submit these accounts. I was concerned she wouldn't be able to carry on after 12 months, and she would then have to become employed, and she would never then have that courage to come back and try self-employment again. So I started looking for something for her to use, and I could find 50 different apps all doing something or nothing that, that she needed in her self-employed business, but nothing that seemed to join up all the dots and do it in one place in a way that I thought she would really understand, in color, in a way that didn't have any jargon. There were lots of accountancy software apps that she wouldn't have understood, 90% of it. She would have only used 5%. And the bits that she needed to know was, how's my business going? What money is left for me? There was all the client facing side of things about managing her clients and her bookings and being organized and keeping the appointments flowing. And there was just so many different aspects. And I just thought, this is mad. There are lots of different software tools all out there helping people, which is great, but nothing that was all in one place, just one login, one password, one place for her to go to simplify it all without any jargon. So I decided I would make it for her because I was her mum, and isn't that what mums do? And I just wanted her to be successful. So I embarked on this journey into software, having never written a line of code, never planning to. And I've had a seven-year rock and roller coaster journey making Pocket PA, which is now available not just for Megan, but for anyone else who also has that challenge of managing their business. They get home stressing, they're messaging clients backwards and forwards, they're trying to find receipts in the bottom of their handbag or their footwell. They're just overwhelmed with all of the extra stuff that you have to do apart from running your business and being client facing. And that was really why I made Pocket PA 7 years ago. And that's been my sort of journey alongside my property stuff still. But that's what I've been doing just lately.
I love that. Oh my goodness. There's so many different nuggets in there. And I think what really stands out for me is just your want for simplicity, but also everything that you've done all the way through the last however many years has kind of led to where you are now. But this real passion that comes through in all of the different things that you've been doing, that seems to be that kind of golden thread, I guess. Those passions, you can be multi-passionate and actually you can do things. And I think when we're business owners, we are passionate about what we're doing, but actually, as you say, wearing all those hats and knowing the numbers, knowing where clients are coming from, all the bookings, all of the stuff that we have to do as business owners, especially solo business owners, can feel quite overwhelming. And just taking that back to simplicity is so powerful. So I'm going to lead in with this question, what a healthy business means to you, because I think it's going to be a really great answer. Probably
well, I mean,
a lot of having
placed
about.
So much emphasis on, managing your finances, because I think that is such an important part. That is the difference between when you're running a business, between whether you've got a hobby or a business. You have to understand and know your numbers. So for me, a healthy business has to be one that is profitable, that is money making, where it's very clear that you are running a business and not a hobby. So that was one of the core things of Pocket PA, to make it very simple, very quick for you to be able to see, are you in profit or not? We show it on a very big, colourful dial so that it's very quick and easy for you to see. You don't need to be piling through your bank statements and wondering and waiting for the accountant to tell you. So firstly, a healthy business has to be a profitable business, but it also has to be enjoyable for you to really hit that sweet spot, for it to be a properly healthy business, not just financially, but also for you, as a solo practitioner or as a business owner. It's got to feel like your business has a purpose that aligns with your values, I think. And it really gives you a feel-good factor, because otherwise, what on earth are we doing in our business? Because we're on this earth for such a short time in reality. We're just tiny, one little speck in the universe, but it's got, we don't want to be on our deathbed wondering, why didn't I do that? Why did I stay in that goddamn awful job, that dead end cul-de-sac for so long? I wished I'd broken free. I wished I'd spread my wings. I wished I'd followed my heart and tried something. Because people, regret the things that they don't try, I think, way more than the things that they do try. And I think if you can just be brave enough to take that step into sometimes or often the unknown and that uncertainty, which is an uncomfortable place for all of us. Nobody, likes the uncertainty that much. We all like a little bit of excitement and some adrenaline flowing, but not so much that we're worrying about whether we're going to be paying the bills at the end of the month. So a healthy business has to be first and foremost profitable, but it has to also be enjoyable for it to be sustainable, I think.
Oh, I love that answer. So aligned to what I think as well. It's just, as you say, it has to have both of those elements. And, as business owners, we've gone into it because we love what we do and we love helping people in whatever industry it is. And I think to turn that into, or from a hobby really into that kind of business, you have to have the numbers, you have to have the financial there. But I think it's also, there's that inner security, it's that inner kind of human need, isn't it? Of to feel safe, we have to feel secure. And a big part of that is the finances, which means then as a business owner, we have to know what those numbers look like and have to be on top of them, which is what I love most about the kind of Pocket PA support that you offer, is that you can literally have access to where you are month on month, or even on a specific day, at the touch of your fingers, and it's just on your app, and it's so easy and so simple for people, which is just, again, is driven by your passion to support Megan to have that simplicity, which I just think is kind of pulls the two pieces of magic together, from creating something out of a need, but actually doing it in a really passionate way that allows people to support their lifestyles as well as their businesses too.
But when people have a passion and they're able to follow it and monetize it, that's that sweet spot, isn't it? Where you have the passion and you can have it income producing, and it can start off very slowly to begin with. So I do encourage, Megan had to stay in her day job until she was making enough money from her, her newfound beauty business to replace her existing income. And I think if you have got the luxury of being able to transition across in that stage process, it's certainly one that I recommend. People are often on the edge of thinking, oh, I want to be self-employed, and it might look really showy and glitzy on Instagram because people just show their show reel of what an amazing lifestyle it is. But I have a book coming out at Christmas about that self-employment journey, because I think there aren't enough people telling us about the raw reality of what it is like to be self-employed. And whilst it is amazing when you can get that correct match, and it isn't for everybody, and I think it's important that we talk about the realities of what's involved being self-employed up front. And I would much rather somebody found that out from a 10 quid book than they actually jacked their job in and they started off on this journey and it was like, oh my God, nobody told me it was going to be like this. It isn't all lie-ins in the morning and, having weekends off and all those sorts of things. There are lots of things that we have to do above and beyond, and that there are sacrifices in the early days, and those are often gone unspoken or unseen by people that are in employed roles. And the responsibility can often weigh really heavily when you're self-employed. And as I say, it's not for everybody. So I think the book that I've written is really about your interview process of yourself, because when we go for an employed role, you have that job interview and stuff. But when you become self-employed, there's nobody interviewing you for that most important role of all, of whether you're going to be a good fit for working for yourself. And so there are different personality types that are better suited to be self-employed than others. And funnily enough, it's often those kids at school that perhaps didn't fit in, they felt a misfit, or they were often a bit mischievous, or they weren't able to concentrate at school, they were always off on their own thoughts or whatever. They're often really well suited for self-employment. They might not have been necessarily book smart, but that doesn't that's not your yardstick that you measure whether you're going to be good at self-employment, because there's no cookie cutter approach. And that's what I love about self-employment, that you can follow your own heart and your own rules and stuff. There are some self-discipline things that you really need to drill down, and there are some mundane, boring things, because when you're self-employed, as you know, Sarah, you're wearing all the hats. You literally aren't just the service deliverer. You're the organizer, you're the bookkeeper, you're the debt collector, you're the receptionist, you're the customer service person. You have so many hats and roles that you're wearing, and I don't think people think enough about those things or quite delve into the extent of what you're going to need to do when you're self-employed. And I suppose that's the lid that I wanted to lift off about self-employment in the book, really.
And it's a really brilliant piece of awareness as well. Like, it's a conversation that, as you say, we don't have enough, because the reality of running your own business is there are days that feel really, really hard. There are days where things challenge us or curveballs happen that we just weren't expecting. And yes, we get the flexibility, which is so powerful. But I think even that brings kind of different challenges, because then everyone expects you to be flexible on their terms rather than flexible on your terms. And I think there's so many different angles to this. I can't wait to read your book. It's going to be amazing. And as you say, it's coming out just before Christmas, isn't it? So we'll share all the links.
I hope so. Yes, it's all on track for December. Yeah.
Super exciting. But I think the reality of running your own business is that it gets to be amazing, but there is hard work along the way, and there are only certain people or certain types of people that are prepared to put that work in. And I think it's the how we can make it easier for ourselves, how we can work smarter rather than necessarily feeling like all the work has to feel hard and draining. And as you say, it's that passion. That's what we want to hold on to and really kind of pull that through. And one of your frameworks that I wanted to talk about, I mean, you call it a kind of a TMC framework, but I think this really talks to all of those different areas in a really clear, simple way that might help people kind of identify the sort of three key areas of actually what is involved in, building a successful business, especially when you're just starting out from a self-employment, where it does feel overwhelming. As you say, suddenly you've got all of these hats that we're wearing, and it's like, what do we actually focus on? So share us a little bit more about the kind of the TMC framework. I don't want to
that's
go into it too much. I want you to kind of talk through it.
So I think when you are self-employed, most people that I know that are self-employed are service-based. So they're exchanging their time for money. So people presume that money is your main asset. That's your main thing that you have to protect. But really, there are three core things that I believe are important in your business. And that is time, money, and your clients. Those are your three biggest assets. And I think it's really important that people make sure that they recognize that time is something that you can't buy back. Literally, as your income starts to increase, you'll be buying back your time, because the money will give you choices and options and stuff, but you won't have a business without your clients. And so it's really important that you recognize that your clients are a really huge asset for you, because without clients, you're not going to have anyone buying your services or your products or being able to deliver your work to. So those are the three core things in the TMC system, the framework that I have. And it's about making sure everything in Pocket PA feeds back to making sure that you're getting your time back. So you're sort of focusing on being as efficient as possible, and wherever you can automate things, then that's most ideal. You want to leverage your time. It's about making more money and not worrying about the tax man, because at the end of the day, we all have to pay taxes, but there are lots of ways to be able to ensure that you've got maximal profit with the minimum amount of tax. And that's not tax evasion, but it's about working smarter, making sure that you're claiming for all the right things that you need to do. But you need a system in order to be able to make sure that you're being as efficient as possible. And then, as I say, about your clients, that's the C part of it. And your client experience has to be paramount, because when you're working for yourself, clients are choosing you because of you. And so it's really important that they get a first-class customer experience, and giving and delivering a first-class customer experience will mean that they will be coming back to see you again, so repeat bookings. And then they will also be talking to other people about you, and that will be that word of mouth and the referral, and making sure that you get other people coming to you and booking in because they've heard good things about what you're doing. So yeah, your time, your money, and your clients are the three core things around the framework that I talk about. And that is the premise of everything that Pocket PA delivers on managing your clients, so that you've got all the information that you need at your fingertips about every client, when their last appointment was, how much they've paid, if they've given you a deposit, if you've sent an invoice, whether that's paid, if you sent them a reminder message. So making sure that the client feels at the heart of your business, and that they really feel cared for and looked after, so they always feel that first-class customer experience. And then we've got time features in Pocket PA, like the online booking system, things that you can set and forget, automated appointment reminders that all the big salons and the big doctors and dentist places send out to their clients. Just because you're small and you're a single solo practitioner, you can also be mighty by using systems and tools that will support you and your business, really, to leverage your time. Because I know when Megan started, one of the things that she used to do, every single evening, she would always message her clients the next day, and she would send them all individual messages. And I thought, gosh, that's bonkers. We need to have a system. I knew that the doctor would send me a message, an automated message. And I thought, right, we've got to build that into Pocket PA to make sure that all of Megan's clients can have that sent to them 2 days before. And once she implemented a system like that, you literally set it up once, and then it's on automation. And all of her clients were getting these messages, and they were thinking, gosh, how professional it is. Oh, that's so lovely. That's been really helpful. That's reminded me to come. And Megan's, forgotten and missed and cancelled appointment rates went through the floor. Suddenly everyone was turning up, which was maximizing her profit and making sure that she was earning the most amount of money. And so by doing these things and having a system and a process, it's not very sexy, it's not very exciting to talk about systems and processes, and all of these non-income producing admin tasks are the things that get left by the wayside because people think that they're sort of a bit boring and they're yawn material. But these are the things that can really make a difference for your business and to the overwhelm, and whether you're feeling like you're coping or whether you feel like you're going under. So yeah, the TMC system is the premise of everything that we have on Pocket PA. It's all leading back to saving you time, making you more money, or giving your customers and your clients a first-class experience.
I love that. And I think what's really interesting is that, as a business owner, so many people think that they need to bring in new clients all the time. So they focus all their time and energy on getting new clients in, new clients. Whereas actually, as you say, if we can focus as well and automate that, so you don't have to spend the time and energy doing it, on actually retaining the existing client base, giving them the best experience possible, that's going to generate more income for you. It's going to generate more profit without you really having to do anything to actually keep them there, because it's all automated. And I think it's a bit of a missing trick for so many people, is that they spend, I've got to be getting more clients in because I need to get more business in. But actually, you've got an amazing set of clients that are already there. Let's
they're your lifeblood of your business.
Yeah.
And I think also when people run a business using a paper diary, I understand why people do it. They like that sort of, to hold the diary and to feel it and see it. It's something tangible. And so to move on to a digital platform can sometimes seem a bit scary. But as soon as you start putting things in digitally, it then starts to give you information, which is really powerful, the data, the metrics. And I know a lot of people are a bit worried and nervous about the numbers and they don't like to look at them too closely. But once you start putting your clients into Pocket PA or a system where you're going to start putting bookings in and then recording payments against them, you're starting to gather really important information, because in one click you can literally see, who are my highest paying clients? These are my VIP clients. If you look through your paper diary, you'll know that Mrs. Jones comes in every last Thursday of every month or something, but you might not have at your fingertips exactly how much she spends with you over any month or any year. And it's those important bits of key information that you really should be in charge of for your business, because it means that you are really a proper business owner, because you're sort of looking at how your current level of business is. And if you want to grow or you want to earn another £10,000, that might seem like a huge amount of money. But using the goal setting feature in Pocket PA, you can break that down to how much extra you need to work and earn every single month, every single week. And then you can work out each day. And it tells you whether you're on target or not, because so many people do goal setting perhaps at the beginning of the year in January, when it all seems fresh and shiny and new and it's the 1st of January, and they might relook at it perhaps 1st of September when kids go back to school. But if you just set your goals once a year and you don't revisit them till the 31st, it's very unlikely you're going to actually have probably hit them. Whereas if you put them into Pocket PA, it will tell you front and center every time you open the freaking app exactly how well you are on track to that goal and that target. And it will give you a hand clap if you're above target, if you're on track, and it will give you encouragement if you're just below it. But unless you're measuring it, you can't manage what you don't measure. So if you have aspirations to grow your business or to reach a certain goal, or you need to earn a certain amount this year or this month, work it down, work it out, break it down. And it's actually in those small baby steps. The magic is in the mundane. It's the small tiny things that you do each and every day, can not constantly, but sort of it's got to be something that you do routinely, and you build it in like habit stacking. I don't know if you talk about habit stacking, but the power of habit stacking. Yeah, it's massively important. I love James Clear's book. That's explains it really well. But it's those small mundane things that are consistent that you do. You create good habits of recording and tracking your income and your expenses. If you spend 2 to 3 minutes doing it each day, it means you're going to not have 2 to 3 weeks of really stressful headaches at tax time, trying to find out and remember what you spent that, £73 on the 5th of July. You won't remember when it's tax time. But
it amazes me how few people actually are on top of their numbers as business owners. And even people, or potential clients, and I'll have conversations with them and it'll be like, okay, well, what do you want to achieve and where are you right now versus that? And this blank face that kind of appears, and I'm like, okay, we need to start with that. And as you say, sometimes the mundane can feel really boring, but actually that's where the magic is. The data is what's going to help you to make decisions, to move forward, to tweak things. And I think, having that at your fingertips can make a huge amount of difference. And now's a really great time to kind of, have a look at that. We've still got, 3 and a bit months left until the end of the year. There's still plenty of time to
don't
grow
waste
your
this
business.
last quarter.
No, exactly.
And people talk about, I'm a technophobe, I don't really like all that stuff, I'm not very technical. I am not technical one iota, and certainly Megan isn't either. But I just say to people, you know what, can you send a text message? And people look at me like, of course I can send a text message. And I say, well, that's all you need to, that's the qualifying criteria to be able to use Pocket PA. You become a data enterer. You never have to open a spreadsheet again. Literally the first time you see a spreadsheet is when you export it to give to your accountant at the end of the tax year. So day to day, you don't need to be getting lost in your Excel spreadsheet. You don't need to be doing anything complex or, looking at any big reports that you might have previously been scared off by in some of the big accountancy software packages. I won't be saying any of the names because I'm not a big believer in sort of stepping on other people to elevate ourselves, because there's enough room for everyone. There's always something that suits us, perfectly. But when you don't feel afraid of your numbers, when you become, oh gosh, that feels comfortable, and you get to know how many appointments do I have each week and each month compared to last week and last month, you can start to plot things. And if you want to earn 40,000 and you're only earning 30,000 this year, if you don't know where you are today, how can you possibly plan to reach that goal where you want to get? You've got to have a gap analysis. So you've got to know exactly what you might be making every single January, February, March, April. Just looking on your bank statement doesn't give you that information. It's just a snapshot in time when you look at the bottom of your bank statement and you're keeping your fingers crossed that it's going to be a positive balance, but it doesn't give you any data that gives you trends and information as you go along through the year. And information is really powerful, particularly for a small business owner, because we know cash flow is king, but we also want to know, when is your busiest time? When is a good time that you're quiet, that you could book a holiday? When is it a good time to do training? When might I need to do more marketing? Because it's usually quiet in that period. You can't tell that by just looking in your paper diary very easily, because it's not actually connecting it with the metrics, which is the numbers of your finances, which is really, after all, why you've started your business. I presume that most people are in business because they want to make money and they want to make more money. So that is at the heart of what we're trying to encourage people to be able to do with Pocket PA.
One of the questions I always get, or one of the sort of pushbacks I get from people, especially early on in their business, is, I'll do that when I've grown a bit, or I'll do that when, I'll put the systems in place once, once my business is big enough. It's too small at the moment. What would you say to those people?
Oh gosh, yes, I love answering that question. Firstly, I would just say, show the universe that you mean business right from day one. Start treating your business as a business from the get-go. And literally, when you begin your business, you are often time rich and cash poor, but so you often have a lot more time than you do have money. So it's really important that you start setting things up in a way so that when you do become busier, you have a solid system and foundation in place that you can then build on and grow. Because sure as hell, when you are busy and rushed off your feet and you've got clients, bookings coming in all over the place, you don't have time to necessarily, I'll set that system up later. Because it does take a little bit of time and energy to invest to get things set up. And that's perfectly normal for any good system. So you want to start just putting in 2 or 3 clients, just start tracking their payments, get used to doing it, create and build these good habits. Because if you show the universe how you can handle small amounts of money, it will also stand you in good stead for when you're starting to earn the big bucks. And you want to just start growing your business from a really solid foundation. And you want, the foundations for a skyscraper, not the foundations for a shed. If you want to put a skyscraper on it, you don't want those foundations for a shed. Start off with the foundations for a skyscraper, put your shed on it, and then know that you can do an extension and you can build up on it from that. But it's really important, because you are wearing all of these hats. You really need, more than ever as a small business owner, to have a good system and process in place for making your life easier, for making your clients' life easier. And that's why I really encourage people to use online booking as quickly, because using inconvenient for you. More often than not, it's between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., which is time when you're at home fast asleep or not wanting to be replying to messages. So how convenient would that be if your clients could be booking in and you could wake up in the morning with 3 new bookings, or you sold a gift voucher, or something's happened overnight and you haven't needed to do anything, and you know that that client is all booked in because they've clicked on a link on your Instagram page or your Facebook page or on your website, and suddenly they've been able to get a slot and a time that's convenient to them, and you haven't had that endless messaging at the weekends and evenings trying to fit Sophie in for whatever it is that Sophie wants to see you for. Sophie can book herself in. She's very capable, and she'd actually really like to do that herself, because then she's got options to be able to choose a time that's best suited for her. So it suits everybody, and maximizing your time, getting your time back, and making sure that your customers have that first class experience is what will keep you on the long run for your business, because you want a sustainable business. You're not just in it for the short haul. You want to still be running your business in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. You might want to take a career break. You might want to come back to it after you've had a family. So you want to be setting up a business as you mean to grow on. It's not just a stopgap.
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? And I think in some ways it's easier to have all of those systems set up right from the beginning, rather than trying to force fit things as you're growing and as you're busy when you haven't got as much time. And that's when it can almost feel more overwhelming. So doing it at a time where you have got a little bit more time is such a perfect time to do it.
And people think it's expensive. And again, yes, that's another myth, because they think, I haven't got any money, couldn't be spending that. And I literally just say that the starter plan for Pocket PA is the price of a cup of coffee every single week. I mean, literally, you could go to Starbucks and spend more on a Frappuccino than it would cost to use Pocket PA for a week. And if you're not serious about your business, then you have to ask yourself, are you worth the price of a cup of coffee? Because, the amount of things and it's not just the time that you save by doing some of these automated things, but it's your stress levels. They're priceless. You can't put a price on how much the stress will cause you. And you need to find a system that will do the heavy lifting for you, to enable you to really shine your light and make sure that you're showing up as your best self to service your customers, because they want to see the unfrazzled version of you. They want to have that quality time with you, but you need to know that you've got somebody doing the heavy lifting for you. And I think that that's what a system and a process, a good one that fits with your business, can really offer you, and it gives you that peace of mind.
I love it. And I think, if you're listening to this thinking, oh my goodness, this just sounds too good to be true, go and check it out. Like, head across to the website. We'll do the links shortly. But I think, there are so many different systems and so many different apps. And what I love about what you've created with Pocket PA is that you looked at all of those and went, okay, how do I pull all of the good bits from all of those into something that actually houses all of them in one place, rather than needing all of these different pieces.
I just took the simplest. I took the smallest bit that I could from each of them, I think, and just put it all together in a way in color, because neuro inclusive is really important to me since I've had my autism diagnosis. And I realized that a lot of people that are self-employed are neurodiverse in some way. I've got two of my 4 kids are neurodiverse, so I know that people connect with color and they don't feel as overwhelmed as when they're just presented with letters and numbers and complicated percentages and things like that. So it was really important that I took out all of that jargon and stuff, because I really believe simplicity. We should all be making things as simple as possible, and people want to spend the least amount of time on their admin and get it done as quick as possible with the least amount of time and the least amount of stress, because nobody wants to be sitting in non-income producing tasks in their free time. So I'm a great believer in doing that, and that's always my central goal, really.
This is why we're so aligned. I'm all about trying to keep things as simple as easy as possible. Like, how can we make more money in the most simple, easy way? And I think with that support piece that you have with Pocket PA, just makes complete
earn
sense.
More, stress less. Yeah, that's why I call the
podcast.
I
know. And I was going to say, and you've got a podcast which is exactly that. It's called that. So go and check out Caro's
I couldn't think of anything else to call it. And then I thought, well, it's just obvious. We just need to all earn more with a load less stress. So that was definitely that was the name. Yeah,
absolutely. So definitely go and check out Caro's podcast. But also go and check out the website for Pocket PA. So it is super simple, pocketpa.com. You will find a whole load of useful resources on there. Caro, share with us what you can find. You explain it in a much better way.
Well, we've
than
got
I
a
do.
really lovely, I love our income calculator, because a lot of people, when they get started, they want to sort of know, well, how much can I earn? And that's the really juicy part of, why we all start our business, I think. So it's about sort of putting in how much you want to earn, and then it breaks it down and tells you how much you would need to be earning each month and each week and each day. And then if you put an average amount that you might be charging for your service or your product, it will tell you how many of those you either need to sell or deliver per day or per week or per month. So it really makes it sort of very visible, and I think it also helps you realize that it's very achievable. People think, oh, 100,000, oh my goodness, a big six, we hear people all the time, Sarah and I, you
Always
and
talking
I've
about the
talked
six
about
figures,
that.
haven't we? Yeah.
Six figure. And I say, oh, it all sounds very exciting, earning a six-figure amount. But I said, it's not actually what you make, it's about what you keep, because these people that are earning 100,000 may well be spending 80,000 on their costs. So they might only be making 20,000, but nobody talks about what they're actually keeping. They just talk about what they're making. So I always say to people, don't get overwhelmed by feeling surrounded by all these people with these six-figure businesses, because we don't really know what they're actually keeping. So I said that's the important part, and that's why with Pocket PA it's a game of two halves. It's what have I got coming in, what have I got going out, because not enough focus is spent on the what's going out part. We kind of think, oh, we've got a business, it's like a cash point machine, and it's absolutely not, because we need to be really mindful of our outgoings. And business mileage tracking, that's one of those things that a lot of people don't even bother doing because they think it's a faff. And I just saw the business mileage tracking apps out there, and I thought, gosh, it would be so easy to integrate with them, but why not make it inside Pocket PA? We don't need to keep integrating with other tools. Let's just put it all inside. So it's about working smarter, not harder, and to make things simpler for us without all the jargon. And if you've got people that are self-employed talking about profit loss and trial balances and all those sorts of things, you don't need to get overwhelmed by what they're talking about. You just need to know your own numbers, and that's all that matters. It's about, what am I keeping, what have I made this week, what have I spent, how much is left for me? And that's you will be enough as a business owner, because I think a lot of us suffer from confidence and self-esteem and feeling this comparisonitis, particularly with Instagram being so prevalent. Huge. And it's just a nonsense. It's not real. You just need to stay in your lane and just focus on what you're doing, and you're exactly where you're meant to be. And if anybody's particularly accountants are talking to you in a way that you don't understand, bring them back down to earth and just say, could you explain that in a way that I can actually understand it? Because people feel intimidated, or that they're not keeping up. It's the accountant's responsibility to explain it in a way that you do understand it. And there are many really good accountants that can do that, but never be afraid to speak up and just say, could you just run through that again? None of that has made sense. And but starting with Pocket PA, it tells you straight away exactly what you're making and what you're earning without needing to open these spreadsheets and go on these complex accountancy software packages. So you are already going to be one step ahead of most people that are still doing it with an Excel spreadsheet and a pen and paper and a paper diary and all those sorts of things. So you definitely can do it.
I love it. It kind of comes full circle back into that, keeping things simple, staying in your own lane, being on top of your numbers. And that's really what's going to support you in growing and scaling your business.
Just be yourself. You are enough. You are capable. You are very able, and you are very brave. If you're working for yourself, then you're already a superhero, and you just need some superhero tools in your tool bag, and you'll be successful, and you'll be able to do it long after the other people that are running around like headless chickens shouting about their six-figure businesses.
Absolutely. And you're so right. It's not just about that instant success. It's about that sustainable success and doing
that
it in a
you
way
enjoy.
That feels good for you.
It's back to the healthy business. It's something that aligns with you, that matches your values, and that feels good for you inside.
So powerful. Oh, I feel like we could talk all day on this. We're so aligned on it. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's been pleasure, Sarah.
An absolute pleasure to chat to you and talk a little bit more about Pocket PA. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you? I know you're on some of the socials and obviously your podcast and website and things like that. So share the details.
Instagram is the best spot. So come to pocketpa.gb. Just drop me a DM if you want to connect and speak to me. I still do my own socials, so it's really easy to reach me. Caro Syson is also my sort of personal account if you want to come over and follow me there. I have started on TikTok. I think I've gone down as the small business whisperer, but I put a load of random stuff on TikTok. So yeah, you don't have to worry that you're going to be taxed mentally on TikTok. So yeah, Instagram mainly. And there's a 14-day free trial for anyone that would like to try Pocket PA. So that's available to everyone. You can find that link on the website, or you can pop it in the show notes. Yeah, free trial for 14 days for you to really try it out and see if it might help you with your business.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that offer. It's I think the best way to do things is to try it and see if it works for you. So go head over to pocketpa.com. We'll get all the links into the show notes as well, so you can click straight through. But hopefully that's been useful, giving you a little bit of food for thought, and to really get you focused on the things that are going to make a difference for growing your business in a sustainable way. Caro, once again, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you on the next podcast episode. But for now, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Thanks for listening to the Healthy Business Podcast. You can get a copy of my best-selling book, Healthy You, Wealthy Business, over on my website, sarahcookcoaching.com/book. In there, you'll find practical advice, useful tools, and real actionable steps to help you be your best self and build a wildly successful business with ease, so that you can create a limitless life in the way that you choose.